Here's information on how to use the question and answer panel and use the raise hand feature.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I call to order the April 12th, 2021 public meeting of the Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners. First, we'll have a pledge of allegiance to the American flag, followed by a moment of thanks for members of the armed forces, especially those in harm's way this evening. Our first responders, healthcare workers, food supply workers, our municipal staff and employees who are helping our community and country through these trying times. Let us begin with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Okay, next will be the HUD statement. Whitehall Township has an obligation to affirmatively further fair housing and to review all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. This includes taking meaningful actions that overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to opportunity based on protected characteristics. The township, in its land use decisions, does not discriminate against persons based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status, and reviews all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. Public comments made on the basis of bias and stereotype concerning people within these protected classes will not be taken into consideration by the township in its deliberations. Next, for record, I want to mention there were the following executive sessions held on the 11th of March, 2021 for legal and personnel issues, and that was held in the Copley Whitehall Sewer Authority meeting room. On the 15th of March, 2021 for legal and personnel issues, that was held at the Copley Whitehall Sewer Authority. On the 31st of March, 2021 for legal and personnel issues, that also was held at the Copley Whitehall Sewer Authority in their meeting room. Next is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Marks.
I have a second.
I'll second it to you.
Discussion from the board. Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
Thank you. There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Approval passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Next is courtesy of the floor. Is there anybody wishing to speak from the public?
I don't see anyone yet. If you would wish to speak, please chat in the Q&A or the chat box. No, we do not have anything. Or I've actually Raphael Abreu.
Yes, ma'am.
Raphael, you're now unmuted. Please state your name and address.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My name is Raphael Abreu. I reside at 990 Congress Street here in Whitehall. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. The reason for my attending this meeting is to bring up a concern regarding traffic speeds on Congress Street here in Whitehall. I've been a personal victim of the speeds in this area. My wife was struck by a vehicle because they were driving too fast for conditions. Vehicle lost control, came through our driveway, across our yard, struck her. And 2 years later now, we just finished with all of our medical and litigation regarding that case. And I come before the township board to bring attention to this issue because it's just getting worse. It's getting to the point now that I've had to install security cameras out front because when another vehicle loses control here because of the speeds, I want to make sure that I capture it in video because it's not a matter of if, but when. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, sir, and hopefully maybe further the discussion regarding the posted speed limit is 25. Here a couple of weeks back, I was able to actually track somebody up to 51 miles an hour going up and down the street. And people don't realize that the street curves around slightly dangerously right up the street. And you always see cars kind of braking in that area really hard. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Mayor Harrell, do you wish to address this and pass this on to the police chief?
Well, can we reconfirm his address so I could look this up?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Abreu.
Yes, sir. It's 990 Congress Street. The main intersections are Pennsylvania and Congress.
Got it.
Are you on, Mayor Harricle? Mayor Harricle. All right, I don't see the.
Hold on. I had a second mute on here. I'm sorry, Phil. I've been
It's all right.
talking. Mr. Abreu, I'd be glad to speak with you about this. And if we have a serious speeding problem there, we have a piece of equipment that we can place out there to determine what the levels are and help us arrive at what the solution could be to that problem. And you are at 990 Congress Street, you said, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. If you would care to, I don't know that you want to give me any other personal information at this point, but if you want to send anything to me at mayor@whitehalltownship.com, I'll be glad to get a hold of you and we can have a greater conversation about this to see how to move forward. Would that be okay with you,
You're
Raphael?
unmuted.
Yes, sir. That would be great. I would greatly appreciate that opportunity. Again, safety first.
Okay.
Having been through the last 2 years of what we've been through, I would love to save somebody else that experience.
Okay, we'll get together and put together a plan and see where we go.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else for public comment?
No, there's no other public comments.
Okay, we'll move on to public hearing and voting on ordinances. Bill number 8, 2021, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal for purchase of a new hydraulic snow blower for the Public Works Bureau in accordance with section 3.20 in the Home Rule Charter, which requires authorization of acquisitions in excess of $25,000 by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Marks.
Do I have a second?
Who was that? Who was that?
Warren,
Joe, Marks is
Okay.
first.
Warren.
Jeff Warren is second.
Okay.
Comments from the board?
The only comment I have, I guess, Jack, you haven't received any additional information on how the COVID grants, 2021 grants can be used. The U.S. Treasury said it could be used to provide government services curtailed by the pandemic effects on revenue streams. And this snowblower was part of last year's budget, but it was deferred because of the loss of revenue. So if we find out between now and then that money can be used towards an asset like that, I'd rather use the grant money as opposed to Lafarge. I don't want to hold it up, but maybe we can get some more guidance before we sign the purchase order. That's all I have.
Any other comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia. Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
President Kinder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Bill number 9, 2021, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal for reconstruction of roadway at South Lehigh Avenue for the Public Works Bureau in accordance with section 3.20 in the Home Rule Charter, which requires authorization of acquisitions in excess of $25,000 by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Fisher.
Do we have a second?
I'll second D.
Comments from the board? Any comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
and President Kinder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Bill number 10, 2021, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal for purchase of two 2021 Dodge Charger vehicles and two Dodge Durango vehicles for the Police Patrol Division in accordance with Section 3.20 in the Home Rule Charter, which requires authorization of acquisitions in excess of $25,000 by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second D.
Who introduced that?
Marks?
Thank you.
I lost where I was at. Any other comments by the commissioners? Any comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Public hearing and voting on resolutions. Resolution number 3156. A resolution for sewage facilities plan revision for new land development of Eagle View Towns, Whitehall, PA. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Fisher.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Warren.
Comments from the board? Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Resolution number 3157, a resolution conditionally approving the major subdivision of White Mac Associates located at Whitehall Mall, Grape Street. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, D.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Phil. Yeah.
All right, before I call for comments, I just want to make sure, is White Mac spelled correctly? I notice on Benchmark, they spell it Witemak.
It's correct, Phil. It's Lee.
Okay, so we have the correct spelling.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Comments from the board? Any comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Resolution number 3158. A resolution authorizing the mayor to submit a grant application to Lehigh County for securing community development block grant funds for the 2021 application to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Fisher.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Sloniker.
Comments from the board? Any comments from the board? Any comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren. Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Commissioner Attia.
Yes.
Commissioner Mark.
Yes.
Commissioner D.
Aye.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Next, on the reports of public officials, we'll start with the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Fisher, would you please start?
Yes. So just a few quick things. So I just want to again remind everyone about the EAC Facebook page. The committee is trying to get some events going up in the next few months, and it's trying to use the Facebook to better communicate these events to the public. So pay attention there. As I said last month too, the hearing committee is getting itself together. That's also going to be advertised more on Facebook. Once we're also trying to get some email lists going. So just for the time being, if you're not on the email list, just please pay attention to the Facebook page and information will come there. The other thing I want to bring up is that on May 8th, there's going to be a cleanup down next to Home Depot on by Jordan Creek. I want to just ask the mayor a question if he's still on. Mayor, what time is, do you know what time that cleanup is? I know you got some stuff for the event. I'm just not sure like what time to tell people.
From 9 to 12.
9 to
From
12.
9 till noon. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to pass that on to EAC and the littering committee, and that's going to be out there. So yeah, so 9 to 12, 9 to noon, May 8th, with the Wildland Conservancy and the Rotary Club. Be there, lots of stuff to pick up. So, and the very last thing I just want to mention again, I just want to keep beating the drum on it. You know, we've made a lot of progress on COVID. You know, vaccinations, I think we just nationwide just made some records yesterday and over the weekend. I think we hit like 4.6 million people in one day, which is great. By next week, I think it's by the 19th, or maybe like Tuesday or sometime next week, they're opening up all slots in Pennsylvania for people to get a vaccine. Please, 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 please sign up, get the jab, get the shot. We've made such progress. There are states in the country right now that are backsliding, such as Michigan. Michigan is actually at pandemic highs right now. So what's happening in Michigan can easily happen in Pennsylvania and other states. So please, we are so close. I want a normal summer. I want to regularly see my family. Please, just get the shot. We're almost there. So just a little bit longer. So that's all I have, and I will yield my time.
Thanks, Charles. Commissioner D.
Thank you, President Ginder. As always, I'm going to mention the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative. They're having their next food giveaway on Thursday, May 9th. Yes, Thursday, May 9th. That's at the Catholic Church in Stiles, St. John the Baptist. They recently announced that they have helped 25% more residents in the Whitehall Copley School District. The last pantry food giveaway, which is April 8th, compared to when they first opened the pantry on January 14th. So 25% more of our residents are getting food. As Commissioner Fisher mentioned, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there, but there are still a lot of people I know on unemployment, a lot of people still hurting out there who can utilize the food pantry. And they're also looking for, if you know anybody who does not have transportation that can't get to the food pantry. The Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative is especially trying to find people who lack transportation. If you know anybody, if you know an area, that'd be a good place for a food drop-off, a grab-and-go type food pick-up and drop-off. If you know of a certain area in Whitehall Township, if you can let them know, you can call 610-730-8067. Again, they're specifically looking for neighborhoods that a lot of residents may not drive, may not have cars, especially those who have children. They're going to run their summer breakfast program this summer. So If you know any families in need, especially with kids that can benefit from this, and they don't drop, they can't get to the food pantry, the food pickups, please let them know. I also want to mention, I believe that the new vaccination clinic on MacArthur Road in the old AC Moore is open. I saw people going in there today. So that's run by Lehigh Valley Health Network. If you have not gotten your vaccination, you can sign up through their My LVHN portal, or you can call 833-584-6283. Again, 833-584-6283, or through the My LVHN portal. You could sign up, but we have a vaccine clinic right here in Whitehall, right on MacArthur Road. And I saw people going in there today, so I assume they're up and running already. So get vaccinated. And like Commissioner Fisher said, we can all hopefully have somewhat of a fairly normal summer coming up. So that's it. Thank you for the time, President Kinder.
No, thank you, Mike. Commissioner Warren?
Just one quick thing, to follow on with what Mick said. I exchanged emails with Sherry Knocker today, and she wanted me to pass along this information to the board and the public. And the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative wants to fill a gap by launching a children's summer feeding program, which their goal is to distribute food to 500 children in Whitehall Copley area. And from their prior community outreach program, and with the new food pantry, they know there are many food insecure children who live in households without transportation. The Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative really needs the community's help with identifying Whitehall and Copley residential areas where there are large numbers of households with children that do not have transportation. I believe they want to set up some satellite locations for food pickups or drop-offs. Their current objective is to have the right location to achieve the best outcomes in feeding as many as low-income children as they can with drop-off and go distributions. They're having a public meeting at the food pantry at St. John's in Style on April 15th at 6 p.m. to discuss how this program could be implemented. So if anybody has any suggestions on where some locations might be, where good satellite distribution locations might be, they can email Sherry at whitehallcopleyhunger@gmail.com. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. Commissioner Attia?
Thank you, President Ginder. I just have a few quick things. The first one is actually related to the public comments by Mr. Abreu earlier. I travel that road every day during my morning commute, and I've seen the same thing. But just in general, I wanted to just remind all who are listening. Kids are back to school. A lot of kids are back to school now, 5 days a week. You have kids walking to and from bus stops, and our parks are open, and weather's getting nicer, so kids are outside. So just an overall reminder to just please drive carefully, and especially through the residential areas. One of the other things I wanted to mention was I wanted to extend my condolences to a longtime Whitehall business owner, Dominic Beluzzo Sr., the owner at Pal's Pizza, had passed away this past week. I just want to extend my condolences to him and his family. He's just been a long-time business owner in Whitehall. I feel like he's kind of part of the Whitehall family, so I wanted to extend my condolences to them. And lastly, Commissioner D, Commissioner Warren, and myself attended the Parks and Rec meeting last Wednesday, and I just want to thank those who are actively participating in the parks, just volunteering a lot of their time and putting forth a lot of effort into giving kids, an opportunity to get back out on the ball fields this spring. And a lot of that time has been lost in the last year. So it's just nice to see kids getting back out and doing those things that they enjoy. So I just want to thank all those involved. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Commissioner Sloniger?
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, Tom. Commissioner Marks?
Yes, I have a proposal to make. I polled our bureau chiefs and department heads. I spoke to my fellow commissioners, well, the majority of my fellow commissioners. I propose that we get the administration to look into getting prices and maybe design of a digital array / marquee out on the MacArthur Road corridor for public service messages only. I found in my walkings in Whitehall, which I've done a lot of, knocking on doors, that a lot of our residents don't even know where our municipal building is. And I feel strongly that with the current construction taking place, before we do a total restoration of our front yard, we look into this. I stopped over at North Whitehall Township today and I talked to Christopher Gargis, their general manager. And I asked them, you know, similar in scope to their sign. I don't know if everyone has seen it. I took some pictures of it today. It's very, I don't know if anyone can see this. It's very tastefully done. Can anyone see this?
Yeah.
It's a two-sided sign. It's approximately 3 feet 5 inches or 6 inches by 7 feet. Like I said, it's two-sided. It has a masonry base, but basically the sign is held up by a pole. The masonry work was done just to wrap the pole to make it aesthetically pleasing. They also put a light box on top that identifies it as North Whitehall Township. I don't know, you know, I don't know the ins and outs here as far as the architecture of it, but what I'm proposing is, I spoke to Mr. Myers about this, and he suggested that possibly a change order. I also talked to Ms. Rackus about this, and I just want to clarify some things. Because we're under construction, I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but Jack suggested a change order that maybe we could incorporate into the new building. Because we have the brick and we know the color of the brick, maybe we can incorporate it and make it matching. And Lee also supports this and told me she looked into the code and we are exempt as far as this sign because it's a digital array, because we're only going to do public service messages on it. Also, she had Carl graciously look into locations. Carl did a great job. I feel strongly that the places that he recommends because of the floodplain and what he had proposed, I'd like to get it out closer to MacArthur Road, but once again, I know we're limited to what we can do with PennDOT right away, the water garden out front, line of sights and such. But maybe we could figure out a way to get it out closer to MacArthur Road so people can see it. Like I said, I spoke to all our bureau chiefs, fire, police, EMA. We could use this for a lot of public good. We could do this for firefighting recruiting. We could do this for Amber Alerts. We could do this for police cadets. Emergency management could put messages on there. The township as a whole could put messages. Public Works can use it to tell when the Cameron track's open or have any messages for the general public. I just feel that there's a disconnect in Whitehall. Like I said, it's a $35,000 item. I know it's a lot of money today. I know things are really tight. We do have contingency money. I said my piece. If, you know, we're willing to go forward and possibly looking into this, I think it would do a lot of public good for the years to come. If anyone else wants to talk, please speak up.
You almost used up your 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
How about this down by the island down at Everhart and MacArthur?
Well, the beauty of this unit, is this unit is wireless. So we have the electric out in front of the municipal building already. It only requires 110 voltage. It doesn't require any high voltage. And it's a wireless unit. So everything's done remotely, wirelessly. So you don't need to run a comm cable to it either. So basically this would just involve one small trench to get electric out to the sign to service it. I don't disagree. The island at Eberhardt's also another great location. So I personally don't care where it goes. I just think that it's important that we get messages out to the general public.
I think the portable sign at the Eberhart Road has been very effective. It's been there for a number of years. It was removed temporarily, but placed back. But that catches all the traffic going to the school. It catches traffic going to Hockandaqua. There's more traffic that crosses that corner than would cross in front of the municipal building. My concern with the municipal building is that driving southbound, it's really tough to see anything with the rain garden. And there was $30 million spent on a safety improvement project, and there's a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit on that road. And I'm concerned that something that would distract motorists is not in the spirit of public safety, but that's just my thought. But I think the Eberhart, like Phil said, is a better location for something like that. You actually have stoplights there where you can actually sit there and read it and not be doing 45 miles an hour and doing a rubberneck trying to read it. So that would be my preference, the Eberhart Circle. There's already electric there as well. So thanks.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We need obviously to finalize location, but I think it's well needed. And I agree with Commissioner Marks. We have to do a better job of getting information out there, and I think it's an excellent idea. So I support it 100%.
So I guess my thoughts on it are kind of what was said. I do agree that putting at the Eberhart Road location might be best in terms of just being stuck at the stoplight. I do want to say though, however, if the board decides, or if the township decides to go ahead with the sign, and if it's decided not to put it at the Eberhart Road's location, but at the township, if it's put across, if it's put at the other end of the parking lot and we have to run a trench, my only thought had been that if we were going to run a trench, since the trench is already going to be there, if we ever want to put an electric charging station at the end of the parking lot, and since the trench is already there, it might be a good opportunity to also run like a higher voltage line. Like we wouldn't have to put the charging station in immediately, but if we have a trench and the line is there, we could at least like consider down the road putting the charging station there. But as I said, I actually think for the purposes of this project, I kind of agree. I think the Eberhart Road location might be best. So
I think that's going to be complicated, and the only reason why I say that is, it's not that I disagree. I think Eberhart would be a perfect location for it. Changing the sign, because it's done wirelessly, I don't know if it can be done from the municipal building, so you'd physically have to drive to that location to change it. I don't even know what type of apparatus this is that programs it, but what I sort of gathered from him is the program's on like a laptop, and then it's hooked into Wi-Fi somehow. And I don't know, I don't think the range would be great enough to get to Eberhart. I don't know enough about it, but I don't know if it's going to be possible to do it that way, that remotely, and then have the ability to change the sign on a regular basis without driving to Eberhart. Because you would need some type of communication line to Eberhart in order to do that from the municipal building. I think, I don't know that for sure. It's not that I disagree with the location. I just thought we could kill two birds with one stone. Like I said, I think we have an identity crisis at the municipal building because it's set back so far from the road. A lot of people drive by it and don't even know it's there. And I thought we could put a marquee sign on top of it, identifying it as the Whitehall Township Municipal Building, Public Safety Building. But once again, like I said, I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. I just don't know if it can be done that way.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
It's Chief Marks, if I may. I know the one thing the Commissioner Marks is talking about is the identity crisis. I know we have that here on Lehigh Street with our marquee out front. Not a lot of people identify the police station because we have the marquee that kind of doesn't stand out whatsoever. So I do think that there could be a definite need for that at the township building itself. I understand the Eberhart Road location as well, but to me it's kind of, you almost have the same scenario at two different areas. You have the stoplight at Municipal, the stoplight at Eberhart, and you still have the heavy volume of traffic. You know, I think it's you know, I'll stay out of the location game, but I think it's something that could benefit everyone in the township, especially, you know, like I said, getting public messages out there.
Thanks, Chief.
And I
Any other
just add that
comments?
I would just add, I'm not opposed to a marquee that says Whitehall Township identifying the building. I just like a little more thought be put into the speed of vehicles and the time for a passing vehicle to read a sign at both locations. That's all. Thanks.
Any other comments?
Phil, I think it's a good idea. I wonder, however, if it would be possible to do it, because that area is actually owned by PennDOT, and I don't know what, you know, they've let us put that little sign there, but I don't know what they're going to do about a much larger thing that actually is changing. So I think you need to look into that. We'll need to look into that. But good idea, Joe.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
Bill, I just wanted to go on record and also say that I support it. I think we want to work out location and all, but I think the main important thing here is that we're trying to communicate a little bit more effectively with our township, and I think that's important. So I support it as well.
Any other comments?
Is Jack Myers on? Jack, are you on?
I'm here.
Hey, I don't know where to go with it from here. I mean, I think we have enough support. I mean, I don't know what we need to do. Do we need to get a resolution? Do we need to get a motion for next month to move forward, to talk to the architect, engineer? I don't know. What do we need to do?
Well, I mean, I guess it all depends on where it's going to go.
Right.
You should almost, at this point, I guess this would fall to Carl, to go out and look at it and give us a couple of locations out there where this could be put.
Excuse me, it's Lee. Are you talking about at the municipal building then?
Yes. And the mayor's going to check down at Eberhard Road if we can even do it down there. You know, with PennDOT's, you'd have to get PennDOT's approval in there.
Yeah, I think there were several issues with that. Plus, remember, we're pending improvements at that intersection.
That's a good point, Lee. I never even thought of that. Everything's going to be changing there in the next couple of years.
Yes.
Which doesn't mean you could, in the future, you couldn't add a second one down there. I guess.
Phil?
Yes, go ahead.
There's a hand raised from a participant named Chris Grimm.
Sure, send them through.
Okay. Chris, you are now unmuted. Please state your name and address.
Chris Grimm, I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator for Whitehall Township. I just wanted to say that I believe this is important for us for public safety purposes. You know, it can get messages out there that we need to, that might not be emergent messages, but it's still some public information that people that aren't on our Facebook or Twitter or things like that, that they can still get messages, see messages that we put out there if they're stopped at the light or going by. So I think this is a great idea, no matter where it's put. So just my support.
Thanks, Chris. Anybody else?
Mrs. Rackus, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Joe Marks. Hey, question. I know Carl gave us some ideas on where we could put this. My only concern is putting it on the island. It's really not going to be seen that well if we put a one-sided there, and it's sort of going to take away from the Veterans Memorial and, you know, the honor that's affiliated with it. Is there any way to have Carl, look into I understand there's a PennDOT right away and the water garden and the floodplain and the list goes on, and sight lines. Is it possible to get him to look in the area between the water garden and the sewer authority in that grass area, possibly set back closer to our parking lot so it can be seen both north and southbound, and it doesn't involve any sight lines at the corner of Municipal, if you get my drift?
Sorry, I was muted again.
That's okay.
Without going into too much of operations, I mean, I guess we can have him look into anything, but right now, I have to tell the board, I am at extreme stress with staff. I just was advised today that another one of my staff members is going to be out for an extended period of time. Carl is really the only one doing anything in that division of my department. So, I mean, we can do it. We maybe also can talk to Keystone to see if they can help with locating it.
Okay, I completely understand, and this could be put on the back burner until you get your staff back, and this is no rush. I just wanted to see if that was possible.
Well, I didn't know, like, if you're talking about a change order and getting it in now, if there's some urgency, and I know Tom Diley's on, and Keystone did do the original, the site plan. So they do have that information, so we can lean on them too to locate it.
Whatever you deem necessary, Lee. I don't mean to pressure you or put anything on you. I know you have enough on your plate.
Nice. I don't want to complain. I just want to give you, the heads up, because Carl is kind of the only guy we got right now.
Completely understand. So I guess moving forward, what we'll do is we'll wait till we can either get Keystone or Carl when, and I guess we'll continue on with it then. That's all I have on this right now, Mr. Ginder.
You all done then?
I just had one more thing. I just wanted to ask the administration if we are doing any preparation for future meetings. Well, hopefully COVID will come to an end sometime in the future. And I know it's going to take some time to do some preparation because we don't have our meeting room anymore. Are they looking into, because we're going to need recording, sound systems and everything else, if they're going to start planning, because possibly maybe in a month or two, we could possibly be, or 2 or 3 months, we could be back.
We really have only thought about the possibility of getting space down at the school district. I think the other options don't afford us the opportunity to get many people in the room if we need it. I guess we're sitting here saying for quite some time now that because of where we are on this site, we're not really going to be able to get people, the public, into meetings because we'll be very busy on this site. So, the school at this point is, I think, the most reasonable option. They have a number of locations that we could utilize. But beyond that, I don't know, Jack, if you have any other thoughts, or Lee, but I think that's the most reasonable option for us.
Any other comments?
I'm sorry, I was multitasking, and if you're talking about, like, are you talking about opening up for all meetings? And right now, yeah, it is really challenging try to fit everything in, but we've been functioning with planning and zoning. I don't know if there's something else that we can do in the meantime.
Yeah, we've made this work. Public seems to have accepted it, but should we need to move, I think the school district is the most likely option.
I think the part of the problem with all that was, I don't know, and do they have cleaning protocols and, are we going to be doing that or that's still all part of it.
Yep.
So, Commissioner Tia, I just wanted to throw this out there, and I don't, it's been so long, I don't know if this was the case at the time or not, but when this whole thing first started, did we not have a meeting or maybe two meetings where we met as a board in person, but we were able to somewhat broadcast it to the public and allow the public to still be a part of it virtually, sort of, in like a hybrid type of meeting, I guess you could call it. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, just throwing it out there as a possibility as well.
Well, when we're done with the remodeling in the interior of the administration building, that could become an option down the road.
Thank you.
I think it'd probably be best if we looked at some kind of a timeline to where we expect we can get things sort of back to normal safely, following all the guidelines, and see where that falls and what we would have to do until this new building's completed. I think you just got to look at it and just have that plan on paper somewhere, just in case.
Excuse me, Phil, for what it's worth, from the planning and I think zoning standpoint, and I'm sure it would be something for the board. This is just my personal observation. I'm hoping that post-COVID, we don't lose all of these technical capabilities. This is a fantastic thing that we're providing for the public. Maybe you want to sit in your jammies and attend the Board of Commissioners meeting or, go to planning. I mean, but I think that the whole, generation coming, into public service and wanting to be involved in government and in planning and zoning and being aware of what's going on. Sometimes they're not physically able to get to the meetings or desiring to get to the meetings. I think that you'll have such greater public participation if we have, and I don't know how all that works out, but it's easy for me to say because I've become accustomed to WebEx, but I think it's a fantastic service that you can provide the residents if we can keep it. I agree with Commissioner Attia. It's, there's so many ways that you can move forward with this. And I mean, is it a little bit more work? Yeah, it's a little bit more work, but I'm personally hoping so many things that we can keep, part of this digital reach. Even with the meetings that we have in my department during the day with some property owners. I mean, you realize your demographic that you have in the township with the commercial corridor and the property owners that are nowhere near here. And you can have so many more meetings, you can have so many more interactions with your property owners, with, things that are going on by doing it digitally. I'm just hoping that we can keep some of this post-COVID and even some of the, accessibility for the people submitting permits and stuff like that. It's become much more user-friendly. There's so much that was bad about COVID, but some of it is good. And I'm just hoping some of this can carry through.
I want to agree with Lee. I think this technology is great, and I really do want to get back in person, and I think a lot of people want to meet in person, but as Lee said, if people want to stay in their jammies, I think this should be an option that should somehow be maintained down the road.
These are all valid points. There's no question about it, and there's decisions that have to be made. Do you come back partially, put the commissioners in public and let anybody else that wants to come in video? I mean, these are things we have to look at going into the future, no question about it. So that's probably a discussion for another time at this point. There's no sense dragging it out. Any other comments on it? Any other comments on it? If not, I have just a couple things. Lee Rack has put together what the Planning Commission's been doing for us for the past 3 years. I want to thank her for doing that, and also thank the members of the Planning Commission for what they've done over the last 3 years. They certainly make a commissioner's job a lot easier. When things come in front of us and they've been through the Planning Commission, you can pretty damn well figure that they just about covered everything that could be covered. Whitehall's always had a good planning commission in my years in government, and we're fortunate. We're fortunate for these people that they come forth and do this job within the township, and with Mrs. Rackus, they have excellent leadership to get them where they got to go on top of it. So a good thank you to that. The next one is Mayor Harrico. Are you on?
I am.
Is it possible for the Board of Commissioners to get the Rec Commission's minutes and financials every month?
To get the commission's.
The Recreation Commission.
Oh, the Rec Commission.
Yeah, not the Rec Board, the Rec Commission. Let's start there. If we can get their minutes and their financials every month.
I think that would be something we could work out. Jack, I'd leave that to you and Deb to organize. Do you think that's a possibility on a monthly basis?
Well, the minutes would be no problem as Tony, and the commission meet. The financials are done. They're not done monthly because the expenses out of the recreation escrow fund are extremely minimal. I mean, if you have 1 or 2 projects a year out of that, that's a big year. The matching funds are used a little bit more. I would think quarterly would be more beneficial than just pushing paper for which there have been no transactions during the months, but certainly we can provide you with that kind of information.
I would be happy with quarterly, just so that the commissioners on the board have an idea of what's there and how that commission works and is supposed to work. Is my main goal with this.
Understood.
President Ginder?
Yes.
It's Mick D. I sit on the Rec Commission. This was brought up at our last meeting. Bob Abbott is the secretary. He said that would be no problem. I'll coordinate with you how you want him to do that through email. He usually emails us the minutes, but we did bring it up and he says, absolutely, that'd be no problem. Tony Koch, of course, provides the financials, but Bob was more than happy to share the minutes with you, with everybody.
My goal is that the whole board has a good working knowledge of exactly what that commission does and the monies they deal with. Next one's for the mayor. How are we doing with the pools in Camp Whitehall as far as plans?
We have a plan in place at this point. We've been hiring people. We've been taking applications for the pool employees and the lifeguards. We expect to open Hockendaqua and Cementon pools. As you know, we're going to be spending this year trying to get a plan together for Fullerton. But yeah, we're definitely intending to open them, and also Camp Whitehall. Camp Whitehall will be held at Hockendaqua and also at Cementon. There's some question at this point, but I think it's unlikely right now that we're going to be transporting the kids because it's going to be, presumptively, I think we're still going to have some COVID problems, and I think we're going to have to ask the parents to transport the kids to to the camp. That still possibly could result in us doing some busing, but right now it doesn't look like it. So yeah, we're planning to do that. Tony has been working diligently on that for the past 2 months, and I believe he has it well under control. At this point, we seem to have a better position for lifeguards than most of the region does because we got working on that early, and provided the testing and the practice for the tests that need to be taken physically. But so right now, I think we're in good shape.
Okay. So Fordham's definitely closed, and we have no idea where we're going with that.
Right now, right now, yes, we're evaluating a number of different options.
Okay. Now, the next one is, I would like for the Board of Commissioners to have a list of the playground officers for each of the playground and a list of the rec board officers. We used to get this stuff years ago, and it just, I guess, kind of got left by the wayside. And you know, it is something that the commissioners should have so that they know what's going on in all these commissions and boards and stuff.
Okay. So you want the rec board members? And
yeah, a list of the rec board members, and on the parks.
we have that available. I can get that out to you tomorrow if we need to. But in terms of the officers of the various parks, I'd have to get together. I don't know if we have that information right now.
Yeah, see, we should have that. You
Okay.
know, that should be gotten when we get the financials on all these parks every year. Are we still doing that?
Yeah, we're getting the financials from the parks.
Because we should know who the officers are at these parks too.
Yeah, that's a good point, Phil.
This isn't drop dead. It's just stuff that I believe this board should have so that they have knowledge of, you know, the majority of things that are going on in this township. All right.
President Kennedy,
What's that?
can I make a comment?
Sure.
I'd like to see this stuff also on the township website. The website needs to be updated. It has been updated, looks like, in a couple of years, but again, going back to what was originally said, I think by Commissioner Marks, of doing a better job of informing the public, but that information should be easily found. Any resident should be able to find out who, you know, runs their local park. It's, you kind of have to search to find this information, and we should do a better job of getting it out there. So I'm not sure who runs the website, township website, but that needs to be updated, and with this type of information, I believe.
But the minutes wouldn't, of course, wouldn't be on the website.
No, but just
They would have to come monthly.
the various members, I think, should be.
But it is nice for the commissioners to have a paper copy of who all these officers are and the financials and everything else. You know, that was always done over the years and it worked well. Anything else?
We can load I was just going to say, we can load the members of the various boards and commissions on that tomorrow, basically. But we'd have to get additional information for the playgrounds.
Yeah, I'm not saying this has to happen tomorrow. You know, I'm happy doing this when all the information's complete and ready to go, that it doesn't come in dribs and drabs. In other words, 4 or 5 pages, and a commissioner can print that down and staple it together, and here's everything that belongs to the rec commission. Here's everything belongs to the rec board and who's on it, and phone numbers and stuff.
Yeah, I think Tony probably has that information.
Well, he probably does. It's just a matter of putting it together. And I'm saying this isn't drop dead tomorrow. It would be easier just to get it done completely, and that it doesn't come in dribs and drabs, and each commissioner has a packet with it.
It's a good idea.
Anything else on top of this stuff? That's all I have. Mayor's report.
We spent a lot of time doing exactly the first thing you asked me about. It's been a lot of work getting this together, planning, deciding what to do. In addition to what's happening with the pools in Camp Whitehall, we've also had to tell Fullerton and Cementon that they should be looking to September potentially as a time to have a carnival as opposed to July or June as they had hoped to. They got canceled last year, and I think it's appropriate that we do it this year too. So they're looking at a little bit later in the year. The warehouse on South Church Street, I don't know if any of you have been by there recently, but it's a pretty impressive place, and that's moving along really well. It creates some problems for us every now and then, but they seem to be doing a much better job at this point of maintaining the debris on their property as opposed to out into the streets. We have a new phone system, and we are going to be having a walkthrough in the building. And Jack, I misplaced the date of that walkthrough.
I believe it's next Wednesday.
Yeah. So I think we can accommodate the board on that. I believe that would be appropriate, and we can get that information out to you. We have a lot of interest around development at this point, considering that the economy seems to be recovering and prices on real estate is going up. We're working hard trying to see where we're going with a lot of these parcels because there's some interest. We hired a new HR director, Melanie Priest, and she's been in the office taking the place of our departed HR director, Ashley Nishan. I know it's it didn't happen in March, but we hired a new officer today, Richard Lagos. And I think Mike is very happy to have him on board right now. They're finally getting themselves up to speed. We had talked about the recycling day, and that thing is coming together nicely at this point. We're still working on the agreement with Sherman. We've exchanged some documents, and hopefully soon we'll be in a position to get that in front of you, hopefully for the April meeting. We are working on the Adopt a Highway as part of the litter control that we're working on right now. We're still working with PennDOT to determine exactly where we'll be doing that. But the litter ad hoc committee has been working really hard. These folks, at this point, having met once with Adams Outdoor Signs, the billboard company, they are looking at taking the enthusiasm from this litter control board into a regional task for them. They're looking at the litter around the entire region, and they're hoping to help us find a way to clean up not just Whitehall, but the entire region. So maybe we've got a trend going here. It's been a pleasure getting to meet some new people who are really highly motivated at this point to get out there and get it done. I think there was an announcement also in May 8th, we'll be doing a litter cleanup down along Home Depot. We hope that they're going to be participating with us. That hasn't been decided yet. That's about all I have right now, Phil.
All right, treasurer's report. Is the treasurer on?
She was on.
And
She's here.
okay.
Treasurer?
Okay, as tough as everything's been for everybody because of this COVID, this year is impressive for us as far as collecting taxes goes. Between the garbage and the township for the month of March, we are up $660,000, which surprised me because I know there are still people who are hurting out there. And April is up also, but until the month is over, I can't give you that. But so I'm very pleased with that the taxpayers are coming through and should be a better year. And I trust everyone got their reports through their email, and the March reports should be finished by the end of the week.
Yeah, the only thing that doesn't show is we're supposed to be getting a state of all deposit accounts report.
What do you want? You want the whole report that I balance everything?
Well, from the forensic accountant's recommendations, which I believe you have a copy.
Yes. Do you want the whole procedure for the report changed? Do you want all the backup to it? Is that what you're telling me?
Well,
I mean, I can provide all of that. It's here.
what I'm looking for is what the accountant told us we should have. So I think the best thing to do, not to make it more complicated than it has to be, is just, show us as much as you can in a general report. There's how many of those accounts, deposit accounts?
Well, altogether, I think the township has about 90 accounts, but the ones that go into the general fund accounting, there's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's like 11 that go into the general fund accounting, and that's on the report that I give you. If you want a copy of the distribution reports that go out for the taxes that I give to Jack every month, I can gladly give you those too.
All right, what the accountant is saying we should have is the treasurer must report monthly on the state of all deposit accounts to the Board of Commissioners for inspection or audit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can do it. It's not going to be easy, but if you need it for everything to, more than what you're getting in the general fund, I certainly can do that.
And, it's number 9 in what the accountant asked that should be done. Review and report prepared for September meeting. We did notice that the report does not include any summary of the tax accounts under control of the tax office. And
the only thing that, so you want the treasurer's disbursement account too?
I would believe so, yes.
Okay, I can give you that. That's not a problem at all. And if you want, if you want like the accounts that come in, we do, well, I couldn't give you the school, but I can give you the per capita account too.
The school board accounts, we should not have, no, they don't belong to us.
No, but I can give you our portion of the per capita account also.
Yeah, that we should be seeing also. In other words, if you look at when the forensic accountant sat down with us, if you look at number 9.
Well, I don't have that with me, but I'm aware of what that is.
In the office, so you would be able to look when you're in your office at number 9 in the booklet he gave.
So what you're saying is you just want the procedure to change. I can do that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, we want to see the numbers on these accounts every month.
All right, that's not well, the numbers are on the treasurer's where it says synopsis of all township funds. I mean, what you have there is only the balances, but if you want the worksheets, I can give you copies of the worksheets.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Yeah, that
in the
would help.
future, we'll give you
And as a-
copies of the, you want copies of the, account statements from the bank, you know, like the, monthly statement we get
Yes,
from the bank?
yes, I would like to see the account statements
Okay, we can do that.
because there's things I had questions on, like these analysis fees on the per capita account. You know,
Well, the
I'm not sure.
analysis, I'm sorry, go ahead, Phil.
I'm not sure exactly what they are, and I believe there other commissioners would have questions on this also.
The analysis fees are what they charge us to keep the account. We get charged by the number of deposit slips we put through. You get charged by the number of checks that are processed. And in years back, when the interest was higher, it didn't have an impact on anything. But now, when you have
Now
a
it
month
does.
that has 18 cents interest and a $13 bill, or you have interest of even the biggest accounts on occasion when there's a lot of taxes coming in, you might have interest of a couple $100, but then because there are so many taxes coming in and so many checks and deposit slips being done, you're still losing $700-800 that month on fees.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's, I think that's one of the things I'm sure that Jack is looking at with choosing a new bank to see if,
I'm,
you know, the fees are going to be lower or anything because the
I'm,
interest stinks.
I'm sure Jack is as well in doing on top of that. So at this point, this per capita account is all straightened out and the bank credited any
The
overdrafts.
bank is going to credit any overdrafts, and I have to get the amount from the township and the school that they owe, and then that will all be straightened out. And I want to double check any other accounts that are done that way. With Jack's help, we've decided that what we can do is, instead of billing, which makes extra work, is just deduct the amount of the analysis fees from the distribution that goes out.
And that makes sense.
Yes,
As
yes,
long as it's shown what the deduction was for.
absolutely,
Makes
absolutely.
sense. It's less work. Okay, that was my question for tonight.
All
Thanks.
righty,
Thank you.
thank you.
Phil, we also have another question from Chris. I'm not sure if it, can I unmute him?
Send them through, please.
Okay, Chris, looks like you're unmuted.
Thank you. I just, after everybody gave their updates, I just kind of wanted to give the board an update about our EMA vehicle. We did take possession of one of the fire vehicles about 2 weeks ago for the full use of emergency management. So I just wanted to A, tell you, advise you of that, and B, publicly thank not only the board for the support they've given us, but you know, Commissioner Joe Marks for the assistance he has given us trying to get the vehicle, Chief Nelson for providing I'd say an alternative to what we were going to get. We ended up getting the old dive unit from Fullerton, which is a much better fit than the brush truck that we were going to get. I mean, either one would have worked, but I think the dive unit is definitely a better fit for us. So I'd like to thank Chief Nelson for seeing that and recognizing that and offering that vehicle up. And last, obviously, but not least, is the mayor and Jack for, you know, letting us go ahead with the, you know, transfer of the vehicles from the fire department to emergency management. So thanks to everybody involved and, you know, your continued support for emergency management.
All right, and Chris, thanks for all you and your department do. Before I ask for adjournment, there's one thing I forgot to do, and I see that Fireman and Inspector Bilger's here tonight. I don't know if the fire chief's on or not. I can't see the full list. We want to say thanks to the fire department, the police department, and the fire police, the mess down at the old dairy, that they had to go through the other day. They had their hands full. Things just went downhill all the way along, but they got control of a really bad situation and prevented things from getting a hell of a lot worse. And we need to say a big thank you to all these people. Obviously, training pays off, but there was more than training here. There was a willingness to jump in and deal with the problem, and we're very thankful for that. All right, any other comments before I ask for adjournment? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Phil, this is Jeff.
Yes.
To piggyback on what you just said, I did talk to Chief Nelson. It does sound like the fire hydrants on MacArthur Road are live. The ones on Mickley Road are live. Do we ever do periodically analysis on if there is a fire, how much pressure or how much pull we have from those hydrants?
I thought these fire hydrants were checked annually, whether it be by the water authorities or by somehow in the township. I was under that impression, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know if it's a written thing or if it was just done as part of training nights or what. I don't know. Somebody from the fire department or staff would have to answer that.
Well, Mark is here. He may have that information.
Does he want to take a stab at this?
I get in here. Raise your hand.
Mark, you're now unmuted.
Okay, yeah, I did some research on the hydrants at the Wave Valley Dairy, and they are dead hydrants, the yard hydrants. It is their responsibility to keep those hydrants maintained and tested. So I will be going after them for that. So in the near future, it will be getting tested and be up working.
Who would have had them turned off?
I'm gonna have to say the property owner turned them off.
I think what should happen is our two water authorities should be notified that if a property owner has the water disconnected to the property, such as this with the hydrants, that the township is made aware of this by these water authorities, because I might be wrong, but I don't think the township was informed that water was turned off. And, as we found out, that's huge.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We were not aware that they were turned off. I don't know how many years ago that it was probably turned off.
So at that point, we need to sit down with our two water authorities in the township and somehow get this straightened out, that this can't happen again, to our best abilities.
Phil.
Let me be more specific on my question. I want to know that we have capacity at these fire hydrants to fight a fire in those big buildings. Mickley Road, the fire hydrants are sparsely apart there, closer to the mill. We have a water tank. What's the capacity of that water tank? Is it sufficient to handle a large fire? If the dairy were on fire, how much water would we have enough water to fight a big fire like that?
Can I just interject here, Phil?
Sure.
I would believe that water was probably disconnected back into the 80s, because there's no cultural knowledge in the fire department. And these guys are pretty rigorous in determining what they need to do their job. I'm sure they're working regularly with the water departments that we have to guarantee that we have the kind of flow that we need. And I would think that, and Mark, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I would think that most of the guys who've been around a while know exactly what they can expect at most of the hydrants throughout the township. I'm sure there's regular work done by the water authorities to guarantee that they have the flow they need. So, Mark, you tell me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
Yeah, you are correct. Like we do know which hydrants flow, what amount of water, and stuff like that. So we're well aware of that. We were not aware of the Wave Valley Dairy water was turned off. I will be going there within the next couple of days. Once he gets the water turned back on, he will have to do a flow test, and I will do a calculation on the amount of water we would need if that was fully involved.
Now I I do understand that the sprinkler systems are energized in the buildings, correct? It's just that that hydrant was not active.
That's correct. The last time that we were down there and did an inspection, the sprinkler system was tested and up to date.
Sorry, Lee, thanks.
I just wanted to let the board know that we do get notification from the authorities when the water's shut off. And that's why I agree with the mayor that this is probably a long time shut off, and it's a different, those are private hydrants, and they were probably installed, you know, for the functioning of the industry when it was operational. But we do get notification when things are turned off. I mean, this goes into a years-long discussion too with some of the things with the standby fees that are charged, you know, with NVMA and, you know, different things. There's all different ways that issues can happen with water service, but we do get updates, we do get notified, we do send property owners notice whenever water's shut off. And we are required, I mean, every property owner is required, if there are fire suppression systems installed, have to be maintained as operational. So I just wanted to, you know, clarify that the authorities are working with us. They do let us know, but this is, you know, like Mark said too, it's kind of a unique circumstance. It's an old factory. You're not 100% sure when those hydrants were installed or when they were put out of service, but current day, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, the last thing I want to come out of this conversation is that the public believe that there isn't real professional performance in the water system throughout the township. I know that this is a highly and rigorously maintained system that have reports that they do regularly to guarantee the system. So we're not in a position where we have to be concerned that the water's not going to be coming out of every fire hydrant except the one down at the Lehigh Valley Dairy Building. Beyond that, the fire department and the water authorities who depend on the service maintain these lines rigorously.
Any other comments on this? All right. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for your help with this. If not, nobody has anything else, I'll ask for adjournment. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Fisher.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. That's it.
Who was the second?
Atia.
Okay. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, Tom,
Hey, what?
can you give me a call quick?
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay.